Oh my god, what's up everybody? Oh, this has been a stream forever in coming, and I just realized I forgot my coffee over there. My coffee's right there. Hold on, please, please. Sorry, gotta get my coffee. Hello, you wonderful people. How's everybody doing? We got Alex here, Northern Chip here, good to see you. Bram's here, Bogey, love you. Love you all, by the way. Hello, everybody. I haven't streamed in forever just because I've been like taking a break. I don't know from what. I don't know what I was taking a break from. And I'm trying to post some videos as well. Trying to figure out what to do with this YouTube channel anyway. Because I do want to create useful content, but at the same time, I want to create content that aligns with what I want. Waiting time is where you are, Paul. What time is where you are? Oh, dude, no, I can't tell you, because then you'll be like, why are you yawning? It's 11 a.m. It's 11 a.m. It's like, why are you yelling at 11 a.m.? Yeah, but anyway, yeah. Alex saying welcome back. I just want to put these comments. Hello at username. Nice. Hello. Hello, hello. And yep. And Bogey, how did your talk go, by the way? Man, I'd love you to do a similar talk for Strappy, because I'm sure you share so much cool stuff. Bram, Bogey, he's one of our members at Strappy community, and he's like really awesome at everything. But whenever I have questions, specifically about plugin development, I go and ask him. But how's everybody doing today? Like, I want to keep it like more like open chat today. I kind of see like answer some questions, kind of catch up with everybody, say hello, maybe help me out loud think about like kind of like where to take this channel. I'm gonna also talk about some of the things that I'm working on, just in case if people have questions about like, what am I building, why am I building it, do I have any burning thoughts about getting hired in 2024, like any questions. You know, you go. Hold on a second. I thought the knowledge level was higher than I thought. Oh, really? I thought, wait. So I thought the knowledge level was higher than I thought. So was it higher, or was there more beginners at the talk? Regardless, like oh no, most people were not technical. You gave the best talk that. Well, listen, this is what we're going to do, Bogey. You and I are going to talk about it. Wait, what are you talking about? So are you going to leave Strappy? I never said anything about leaving Strappy. Don't scare me like this. No, Strappy for life. I don't know how to do gang signs, whatever. But no, unless Strappy fires me, I'm not leaving, because I love everything about Strappy, because it allows me to build things faster. And also, it's just such a fun, like the people I met working at Strappy, like you, like other people in the community. And it's just such a good product. No, I'm not going anywhere. Unless they fire me, I'm not leaving Strappy. I have like I have a lot of work to do for Strappy still, so I'm not leaving. No. I really love what I do there, and the fact that I'm able to, after work, build projects myself and think about like one project I'm building. I don't have it on my computer, but I'm part of this like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community. So I'm building a little mobile Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu app. You probably can't see anything because my camera is so zoomed out. Yeah, I'm building like this little mobile Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu app. You could have lessons. You could check out lessons when you click on lesson. You could go and like you could scroll up the text and everything. So I'm building an app for fun for my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu friends, and that's using Strappy and Remix. And so like I know like Nextjs is super popular, but Remix is awesome too. And so I'm kind of like trying not to do Next.js content on my channel, but I know it's something that's going to be very popular. So I think I am going to make some. I think like on my channel, I'm just going to focus on making content around Remix, around Next.js, and just like the apps I'm building and just talk about it. But yeah, I'm still thinking about it, but I just wanted to get back here. But anyway, if anybody has questions, let me know. If anybody, has any burning questions about anything, this is your time to ask. But while you're thinking of questions, I'll just kind of randomly share stuff and talk about stuff. So one thing that I started, but one thing I'm working on, or let me like do my own shout outs. Let me like say, so first of all, like, by the way, like one thing that I've been kind of, I don't even know what I'm thinking, but like, why do I do YouTube? I was kind of thinking about it. What's the point? Am I going to quit YouTube? No, I'm not. But I wanted to do a little shout out for myself because, let's see, Remix, Strappy. Just because I was very proud. And so I'm going to give myself a shout out. I did a Remix Strappy crash course for free code camp, and they accepted it. And so I was like, wow, that's like pretty exciting. Why do I showcase this? Because it took me, it's like 1 hour, 2 hour video. It took me forever. Like making tutorials is so difficult, apparently. But one thing that I wanted to share here, like, so like I made this like course. Oh my God, they have ads everywhere here. But I made this course for free code camp. It was pretty awesome. I was like really excited about it. And I was thinking about it. And one of the things that I realized, I do YouTube obviously for a lot of selfish reasons, and it's not the money. A lot of people are like, oh, why you do YouTube? I made like $7, maybe. But one thing that I realized I use YouTube for is this a way of marketing myself and way to get out there. And if you're like a developer, I'm not saying you should do YouTube, but there's this and again, it depends where you are. And I do like developer advocacy now, which I do want to talk about in more details later, and talk about just my big perspective on the industry as a whole, because there's this doom and gloom going on. Like, the economy is hard, getting jobs is hard, but I still think like the tech sector is still the best way to do. Still the best way to go. Like there's so many other positions you could do outside just being a developer. And I started as a software engineer, but I transitioned to developer advocacy because I love to talk. I love building resources, and that's like a kind of cool thing. And so for instance, I created this resource for free code camp talking about using Strappy and Remix. And the reason why I do YouTube, I realize is, well, I didn't realize, I kind of knew it from the start. I don't do it just to be like, I want to be a YouTuber, but I wanted to create a way for build my kind of brand as a developer, because I knew as a self-taught developer, it'd be very hard to break into the industry. And so I wanted to have one kind of home, a connection where I could meet cool people. And through those connections, I was able to kind of grow my network, which is, why am I babbling about this? Because I'm not saying everybody should do a YouTube, but this whole idea of, I love when like people like, hey, sorry to bother you, but I want to do a whole promotion for viewer channel, follower viewers chat, bots. The price is lower than any competitor quality, blah, blah, blah. I mean, like so generic, and no intrigue whatsoever on this. Somebody, it's on Twitch anyway. You probably don't see Twitch comments on YouTube, but who cares? Yeah, I do stream on Twitch. Why? Because I don't know. Nobody cares. I am going to look at the questions, by the way, first. And so to keep them coming, I do want to encourage asking questions. What's the difference between software developer and software engineer? The difference is just the title, to be honest. I think every company, that means something different. I think software engineer sounds cooler. You sound smarter than a software developer. I think that would be like the difference. It's just the title. I've actually heard people, they work at jobs, right? And when it comes time for promotion, they just promote their title, but not give them a raise. So I'm like, what does it even mean? I think like whatever you want to like call yourself. I think software engineering sounds good. But in my mind, every time I say software engineering, like I'm always like in my mind, because of my insecurities, I'm like, it's somebody who went to college, but it's not true. You know, you could call yourself software engineer right now if you build software and software developer. So no, like if you're applying, I probably just say like, you know, you could call yourself whatever you want, but honestly, like titles company to company change. There's no like specific title. Like the company I work for at Strappy, we have a whole Strappy related job titles and then they have a level associated with it. So I wouldn't stress too much about it. But yeah, so that's why I've been like, I created this free code camp. So the reason why I'm talking about YouTube just in general is because number one, I'm trying to figure out where to take this channel. But number two, just so you know, me being transparent, I don't just do YouTube for the sake of watching views. Like I'm doing it to help myself get better. Like for instance, by making this tutorial, and number one, connecting free code camp was pretty awesome. I think I got lucky, to be honest. But making content just improves you thinking about your code. So the reason so I'll show you another example. If you go to my channel, your view channel, I have some videos that do very poorly, but I still made them, like because they're not even showing up here, but because like I wanted to practice. Like for instance, I just learned about Clerk, and so I wanted to practice like making an app which uses Clerk as authentication. And so I went ahead and did a little bit of research, and I created this video of how to start with Clerk on my YouTube channel. So somebody's like, well, why did you make it? Like this video obviously didn't get that many views. Terrible. But to me, it's not a loss because I got to talk about something I've been learning. So one thing, like I was going to say, the reason why I do this YouTube channel, and I'm not saying people should have YouTube channels, but by explaining things to other people, not only am I able to get feedback, people could be like, your videos suck, whatever, but I'm actually practicing talking about programming and developing. And I think it is, you know, it's a very important skill to kind of do things in public. And so I'm trying to focus this YouTube channel to give you some value, but at the same time to develop certain skills in public that allow me to be better developer, better speaker, and be able to present code. And I think for anybody that's trying to get hired, like if you're building a project in whatever technology you're using and you go to an interview, you should be confident and about talking about that project in a way that shows that you're confident about your code. And to me, the only way to get that is to practice talking comfortably about code. For instance, like I'm building this project that I'll show in a second. Let me open a code editor. But like, if you ask me questions about this project, I probably will be able to answer most of it because this is like about the things that I know, at least, because this is the code that I'm writing, right? And so by creating a video to talk through this project, I'm actually practicing the skill of talking about the code that I write and thinking about questions that I expect, and you know, and be able to answer those questions. And I'll show you what this code looks like in a second. Let me just come back and look at the chat. By the way, I'm doing this like my first stream back. I don't have any like big plans. I just want to chat with you. So if you do have questions, just ask them in the chat, and you're not going to be bothering me. You can ask me any questions, even dating advice. Probably shouldn't take a dating advice from me, but go ahead. So do companies reach out to you via YouTube? So this is a very good question. So I had job offers, that interviews from people I met on YouTube. And I shared this story before. Because I had a YouTube channel, I met web dev Cody. Let me go back to screen share again, because this is a very like, so this comes back to this idea of networking, right? So if you type in Paul and web dev Cody, like maybe not Paul type, because we've talked about Strappy. I will do Strappy and web dev Cody. I should have put my name in it, but look at this. I did a stream with web dev Cody, but I did a couple of other streams with web dev Cody. I also did another stream where we did pair programming. It's probably somewhere in here. But the point I'm saying, I met Cody through YouTube. We interacted on YouTube. And then one day I was like, hey, this is before I was working at Strappy, but I was like, hey, I'm kind of like looking for a job. Do you know any like place that's hiring? And he literally said to me, hey, our company's hiring. And so he said, why don't you go ahead, send me your resume, and I'm going to pass it to our hiring manager and we'll see what happens. And so I got an interview from meeting someone on YouTube through our interactions, from sharing knowledge. And that was awesome because I didn't have to send out any resumes except the one that I sent to WebDev Cody and WebDev Cody, I should just call him Cody. And then I got a call and I talked to their hiring manager. And at the time they were predominantly working with Angular, and I was not about to switch from React to Angular. I'm not saying Angular is bad. Like, I think they do a lot of things well, but I am a React fanboy at the moment, probably for a while. And so, you know, that didn't go farther, but you, through your network of people you meet, you grow your thing. And so like, through YouTube, I was able to create other opportunities. For instance, a lot of people, if you don't know, I will shamelessly say it, I did a talk at a conference, right? If you do Remix, Paul, whatever. Remix, such a bad name for a framework. I'm sorry, Remix, because Remix always will be music. Remix.js. I love but yeah, here I am. So I gave a talk. This opportunity came through networking and connecting. And so what's cool about, here's the thing that I was gonna tell you about. If you're a developer who's trying to get a job and maybe you didn't go through the standard CS degree, right? You trying to figure out how to like get yourself out there to build trust. So if you search like Paul Bertzlavsky, you're going to get like videos from my channel, but you're also going to get videos of me like presenting and giving talks. So it's automatically already kind of giving me this social proof, like Paul kind of knows what the hell he's talking about, right? Because I'm out there in public. By the way, this is one of my first talks I did about Remix. What's funny about this, actually, this is not the first one. This is like a second talk. But I would say networking is such a huge thing because I started with this. Here's the craziest part. I shared it in one of my videos, but like I started going to meetups just to kind of go to meetups. And I asked them like, hey, like, do you let people give talks? So this is one of my first talks at Remix, but this led to more opportunities. I met friends here. When I went to Remix Conf, I met people in person that were like, hey, Paul, like you're from Austin, we're from Austin. So I actually have friends here at a little agency where they're like, hey, if you're ever looking for a job, like just reach out to us, right? You know, we might not be hiring, we might be hiring, but just we're gonna keep you in mind. You know what I mean? And those personal connections go a long way. Let me look at the chat because I do want to focus on questions more. So we asked, do companies reach out to you? Yeah, and also like, yeah, so I think like there's many, like, so if you're thinking of getting hired, just sending cold resumes, I think it's the hardest way to do it. Like you need to network. You need to, like, your life has all these little levers. And one of the levers could bring you to that success, but you're just not sure which one. So you got to tweak all of them. And to me, like, I don't like sending 1,000 resumes. I much prefer focusing on going to meetups, meeting people, creating content and sharing it, having like a presence, getting to know people on LinkedIn, on Twitter. I know like a lot of people don't like playing the social media game, but there's this kind of thing of marketing yourself and branding yourself. As crazy as it sounds, I think it does help. There's also one interesting thing I heard which blew my freaking mind. Let's look at the questions. Good Lord. Bogey, if you're still here, shame on you. Why are you gonna speak this name on my stream that I can't even say? I can't even pronounce it. I can't believe you did that to me. Hey, Logic Indie, what's up? I hope you've been doing amazing. And 10K subs, almost getting there. Logic Indie, I gotta say, I gotta ask a question here. So I've been working on trying to learn music for fun, right? And if you're following Hot Turtle, if you're not, you don't have to, but I have a little SoundCloud account. I saw Logic Indie, you have one. And then if I go to tracks, there's this track. I'd like to learn more about this. This track is, by the way, fire. This is sick. But I see you like uploaded it. So I'd like to know more history about this track and ask you if you're also into music development. But this track blew my freaking mind. It's pretty good. I was wondering like how it came to be. Did you make it? Did you mix it? Did you produce it? Whatever. But it's sick. It's pretty good. I'm just gonna randomly say that out there. Back to questions. Everybody, folks, ask more questions. Otherwise, I'll continue talking about what we're doing. And where do I see myself? Let me go back to my full frontal here. Yes. True, no one has good explanation of both, but he tried. He did justice to it. Listen, yeah, exactly. Like when when you ask people what's the difference between a software engineer and a software developer, nobody knows. Nobody, like, you could ask that to a senior dude, they'll just, you know, they'll give you different answers. Yeah, and just to confirm, if you can talk, that is good. That's good for your reputation. 100%. Everybody should be trying to give talks on local meetups. It's one of the best ways to build the network and friends. 100%. And where do you see yourself in 5 years, Paul? No joke. So in 5 years, I'm still kind of thinking I'm going to be working for Strappy for a while, unless they fire me. So I'm going to start that there. But I did showcase that I was building a little jiu-jitsu app on my phone for like a jiu-jitsu community. So my goal in 5 years, starting now, what I'm focusing on is, because I can't have a separate job while I work at Strappy, so I don't, but I do build personal projects. And what I'm trying to do is to fail quickly, at building failed SaaS products. So I'm actually thinking of working with Web Dev Cody on a mutual project together. I'll share more about it once we start working on it. And I'll tell you a little bit about my project. Like, I want to build a little SaaS product that allows you to take your YouTube channel and turn it into a knowledge base. So, because I have 1,000 YouTube videos and YouTube won't recommend some of them, which is fine. I'm good with that. But what I want to do is I want to take all those videos. I want to take the transcript. I want to break it down. I want to make embeddings out of it. And then I want to have a chat bot where you'll be able to ask questions from my YouTube channel. And it's going to answer your question, but also show you what video that answer came from. And I think it'll be awesome. So it will allow users to better interact with my YouTube channel and also find some of the things that I may have talked about, which will be pretty awesome. But the whole point, not the project, but from now on to the next 5-year goal, Alex asking, is to build failed SaaS products until I build something that successfully generates income and start it as a side gig at some point. And then I would have to keep in mind, like with Strappy, like I have to ask them, like, how far can I take the SaaS product before it becomes like too much for, you know, like where it starts to interfere with my contract, because I still want to stay within contract. So let's say if there's a certain amount that, like, I forgot what the revenue is, it doesn't matter. But like if my SaaS project blows up, you know, whatever, but that's the goal, is to create successful SaaS products. Like at Northside, I didn't say grow a successful YouTube channel. To me, my YouTube channel is afterthought. I just want to have YouTube and talk about my journey, but my goal is to continue to improve my skill as a developer. And to kind of follow up that question, also, how do you grow your knowledge base? So luckily for me, I have ADHD, so I can't stop thinking about code. A lot of people say ADHD, you can't focus. No, it's the opposite. You get hyper-focused on certain things and you switch context all the time. So I always think about programming, so I'm constantly trying to learn programming. That's probably why I'm single. Hence, I said, don't ask me dating advice, but you can if you like. You know, I'll give you a good answer, like from the bottom of my heart. But the point is that I think about coding all the time, and I always think about cool projects. The one thing that I discovered, which is something that everybody should watch out for, that I want to share actually, is that when you're learning to code and you build a project, it's very easy to stay within your comfort level and to keep building things that are similar to the thing that you built. So even though you're building volume, you're not really jumping out of your comfort zone and you're still not developing bigger skills. So the way I challenge myself is to try to think of a thing that I don't understand that well and try to function at a 10% of beyond my understanding. For instance, I am exploring AI, and I don't know too much about AI from the standpoint, can I build my own model? No, I can't. I can't build. But I want to build cool services around using AI. And so one of the things that I did is for every project that I build moving forward needs to use AI in some sort of way. And so like I basically try to do things that force me step out of my comfort zone. So here, like I'm kind of playing with a little like bunch of AI stuff. I use this thing called Run.js. I don't know what this notion. But yeah, so here like I'm trying to figure out how to take a video. Actually, this works. So like, here's an interesting thing. I'm not going to talk too much, but I'm kind of trying to figure out and explore how to use AI to build cool things and SaaS products, whatever. So another way that I think about improving my knowledge, and if you want to learn more about this code, you could ask me, but I don't want to bore anybody too much or what the code is doing. But I could give you an explanation. But talk about how do you also do your knowledge base. I'm also very happy that I work at Strappy and I get to partake in this thing called Strappy Open Office Hours that I started with Derek, and we have a lot of developers that come and chat with us. So a lot of times they present problems they're having, and sometimes I don't have the answer to them. And so through discussing and thinking through the problems with them together is another way for me to learn. So what I would say, like, if you can have a place, it's either at your work or a community that you belong, where you're able to have discussions about problems people are having, that's a good way to improve your knowledge base. And I also still watch a lot of like videos on coding of topics that I want to learn. I don't do tutorials in the traditional way where I just follow along with the tutorial. I'll watch videos on like 2-speed. If something stands out that I'm really interested in, I'll like watch it and then I'll explore it by building it and integrating it in my project. And let's see. Logic Indie. Oh, it's actually just a track I couldn't find on SoundCloud, so I uploaded there. I know nothing about making music. Dude, but that song is fire, bro. I'm just going to say. So Coding Face put out, this is a good point. I do want to say, I love Coding Face. I love Joe, and I'll tell you why right now. So Coding Face put out a video a day ago. He tried something like every 2024 web development map is wrong. So he said most of what YouTubers are putting out there is wrong. Don't know if you've seen it. Yes, I've seen it. It's not that it's wrong. It's that people, here's what blows my mind and frustrates the shit out, sorry, I don't mean to swear, out of me, is that a lot of YouTubers make these videos, they get clicks. And of course, I try my best not to do that because I don't really care for views, but please watch my channel. But the reason with that is they make these videos that they know are going to get views. And there's one underlying fact that they kind of miss out, is that they look at software engineering as a black and white thing. And what I mean by this is that like you get videos like, here's the roadmap to learn, but they don't really talk about how that applies for you as a person starting out, or how does that roadmap applies to you if you're in mid-level role, or how does that apply if you're in a senior role. So there's no context of how you can use it to usefully get a job. And so what I love about what Joe does is he's straight up honest with you, and he tells you, look, like you might, and I've been telling this for years as well, listen, I will break down my journey so many ways how to get a job, and it's not a clear path where and I can't speak for college graduates because I didn't graduate out of college, but maybe when you graduate out of a university with a CS degree, your last year of a university, you might start having recruiters that come to your university. If you're top of the class, you're probably going to get a job. If you don't get a job, you get an internship, then you get a job. Maybe that's the process. But for most people, right, when you go from being a self-taught developer, not knowing anything, to learning a little bit of code and trying to get hired, the chances of you getting your dream job are like very 0 or 1% maybe. But their videos are so like crazy on YouTube because it's either how I got my job in 3 months, which is bullshit, or you'll never get a job, which is also bullshit because you will get a job. It's just freaking hard and it takes a lot of effort. And so what Joe talks about, he talks about these ways. It's like, and this is something that I was going to mention in this video as well briefly. Joe talks about all these different things. Become an email developer first. Don't go for dev companies where you want to be a software engineer. Go to social media companies that also provide web development services and get hired there. Maybe you're going to be adding content into websites that are built with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Maybe you're going to be doing little JavaScript kind of, you know, updates. You're not going to be building anything from scratch. Who cares? It still counts as your professional development, and now you're getting paid. So the goal for you is not to land your six-figure job. It's to break into the industry in the quickest way possible. And this is why I love Joe. And so if we take a look, like, I'm just going to share my LinkedIn for a second here, because I just want to kind of share my journey, just so you kind of understand, to get a realistic kind of opportunity here of getting hired. By the way, if this is not answering your question, that's what ADHD looks like, but I'm trying my best to kind of give that. So let's quickly look at, I think it's important. So if you look at my job experience, when I first started, I ran and operated Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu martial arts school forever. Then I worked as a salesperson at the Hartford. Then my first job, because I couldn't get a job, I'm being straight up honest with you, I could not get my first developer job. So I got a internship. This was a unpaid internship for Point Marketing. It was a marketing agency, literally like helping them update stuff in their WordPress themes. And once in a while, they'll be like, oh, can you change the color? So I would go and change like one CSS property, change the color. And that's what I did there. This internship led to me working as a front-end web developer at that agency. That became a paid thing. And I was getting paid $25 an hour, which is amazing. And while working there, I was still doing mostly like very basic front-end stuff with WordPress, and then a little bit of like custom stuff, like if people using custom like fields, like with PHP, like if they needed to add something, very, very like tiny things. But you know what? I had a job, I was getting paid, and this job that started from a unpaid internship, I'm not saying you should do unpaid internship, but I was desperate. Started with a contract role, making $25 an hour here, led to this software developer engineering job at VersaSuite, worst company ever, making $13.75 an hour. But why did I take a job for $13.75? I couldn't even pay my bills. That I had to work at HEB. HEB, by the way, in Texas, HEB is the best freaking supermarket you will ever find on the whole world. I'm just saying. I think I moved to Texas just because of HEB. But I worked at HEB like personal shopper, where I would shop for people at HEB as a personal shopper. I got paid $13.75 as well. And at my first dev job at VersaSuite, I got paid $13.75. But I worked there for a year and a half. Why? Because I needed that experience. And after this job, and that's what I'm saying, it takes time. I got a job at Red Hawk Research, which is a financial company building one of their products with React. I got paid $80K there. So I went from $13.75 an hour, which is like $20,000 a year, to making $80K, and now I work at Strappy. So it takes time. It's not 3 months. It takes time of putting the effort. And this is what I think about these roadmaps of what to learn to get a job, like Coding Face says are wrong, is because they're missing the point of what do you need to do and how to get your job. By the way, just shameless plug, I didn't make this video, but it's the best one I've seen. Go to coding, if you're still looking for a job, free code camp, getting hired. This video right here, I literally don't have to make any content about this topic, because how to get hired as a dev, even in this economy, this basically in the big picture outlines everything you need to know. But newsflash, it's hard, but it's a good thing. Like if the industry is hard to get into, like it's a good industry to pursue. And if you have any questions about that, I'm just going to leave that there, because with ADHD I could keep talking forever. Let's come back, look at the other questions here. How many times do you read docs? Dude, here's another great point, man. Thank you for such a good question. So when you first start learning programming, you're going to be stuck in tutorial hell. Get out of tutorial hell as fast as possible. As a developer, you spend the most of your goddamn time in the docs. So I literally read docs every day, daily. I'll show you an example. So I am building this little mini course for coding addict John Smilga for his YouTube channel. And it is using Nextjs. Let me go to, I realized I'm not sharing my screen. I'll share my screen in a second. Local. Yeah, I'll share my screen in a second. So yeah, if you're a developer, documentation is your best friend. You like, I work at Strappy, right? And I still read Strappy documentation because you can't remember everything, right? You just can't. You need to, like, your documentation is your best friend. But basically, here's the way I build things. And this is how I encourage you to build. So if you took like one HTML, CSS tutorial, one JavaScript tutorial, one React tutorial, you don't need like 20. You need like 2, 3, 4, 5 at max. Then you need to build stuff. It took me years to make this realization, to build stuff and just rely on documentation and maybe throw some ideas with ChatGPT. But I am building little Nextjs is good. I like Remix. Remix is good. I just have like Vercel is the issue. Nextjs is awesome. Anyway, I hope Vercel's not watching this. Anyway, I love everybody. I'm just kidding. Don't cancel me for saying such a blasphemy because everybody loves Vercel, right? Anyway, so I'm building this project, and the course will come out soon. After I record it, but I'm going to share it on, on John Smigler's channel, and he's probably, and his, there, whatever. But I'm building this course. It's using Next.js. And a lot of times I'm getting like, I'm like, look at this pagination. By the way, it has search also. That's kind of cool. Like the power. Look at this. The search works, pagination works. You could like you could add comments like, hey, if you're logged in, if you're not logged in, you might have to create an account. I already have an account, test user. And so anyway, I'm digressing here, but you could like leave comments. Hey, comment. But while building this, I'm using Next.js under the hood. And so guess where I'm spending all my time? Next.js docs, and hopefully sometimes they give you good stuff. So you're reading docs all the time, and always Next.js, the only way to use Next.js even is using App Router. Don't use Pages. Get the hell out of here with those Pages. Use App Router. Next.js is awesome. So yeah, this project is built with Next.js, so I'm constantly living in Next.js docs. I took like the longest way to answer. I live in the docs, and so should you, because that's the way to do it. If that person's still in the chat, I don't know. You made me get out of tutorial hell. Just wanted to say thank you. No. I want to say thank you for supporting this channel by showing up, leaving comments, saying good things. I don't deserve it, but no. It honestly, all kidding aside, like I think I wasted majority of my development journey in tutorial hell, and so if I could keep telling people to get out of it as fast as possible, you got to do it. You got to do it. You got to do it. So talking about experience, I kind of shared. I hope like it previously talked about building, like let me just add a little bit more to that. So if you're looking to build experience, there's, I'll tell you 3 ways to do it. I didn't go the open source route because open source is tricky. I think Theo put in a cool video where he says not everybody should be contributing to open source because it's hard. And also like you need to be like at a certain level of a developer. But with that being said, I'll show you 3 ways to build experience. Number 1 is you start building useful things. And so I'll show you. So I'll go to my GitHub, and when I go to my profile, I'm not saying and so I have some pinned projects here, and it's going to take a while. And this one, Strappy Next.js Corporate Starter, like check this out. It has 726 stars. The reason it has 726 stars, not because of me and because I built it, but because Strappy is awesome. So ignore that number. But here's the thing. I built this starter, and it's getting a lot of use because I built it for the company I work for. But here's the thing. I built this Strappy starter that shows you how to set up a project with Nextjs and Strappy. And it's been forked over 202 times. And again, this is because it's on our public repo. That's why it has so many views. But here's the thing. I built a project that I shared with other people, and other people are using it. So I could use this as my experience because I built something that's outside of me, And so you could say, I built this type of project. It has, and I'm not going to use this because this is kind of unfair, but I'll go to this one. So I built Strappy Remix Starter, which I didn't do it officially through my company. And I only did it through the Remix community. And so it's been forked 4 times. It started 21 times. It's still in progress. So I built a starter in my favorite framework and Strappy, and I shared it with the world. And this is like me building experience, because this is not something I'm building for myself. I'm building for other people to use and say like, hey, I built this thing. Check it out, try it out. And this will kind of give you social proof because you're building things that other people use and see. What happens here, I want to show you another one here. I'm building, I did this kind of build in public. This has 21 stars, but you will start having people give you issues, right? And you could start working on your issues. You start doing PR requests. I still have to finish this one. This is such an easy fix, but I'm a jerk and didn't fix it. But you will actively be working on stuff. So this is one way to build experience, is literally building things and working on them with other people. The second way to build experience, if you're able to, and is to find a meetup, Remix JS Austin meetup, Austin. And so find tech meetups and go there and start giving talks. I'm not comfortable giving talks still, even though people think I could speak forever. I could speak to a camera forever. In person is hard, but I forced myself to go give talks. And here's what happens. So like, look, I'm actually giving a talk here. It says, getting started with form validation and Remix using Zod. In this talk, Paul will share with us how did I know this topic? No, I thought this would be interesting to learn. I'm like, it would be interesting to learn more in detail how to do form validation with Remix and Zod. So I forced myself to study, learn, and I created a project, and I'm going to go ahead and give a talk about it. When you give a talk at meetups, there are other people that see you. You're building networking, and you're building experience of talking through your code. So I would say build things in public that you share with other people. Number 2, build by, going to meetups. And the third way to build experience is to build shared projects with other people. And then talking about them. So like I'm doing one with Web Dev Cody. We're going to build a cool application, or find friends to do it. This is kind of like the example I did, like build in public. And if you want to kind of see what I built, it's still, I didn't finish it, but like you built things that other people could use. So here's an example. I didn't finish this, so I didn't quite share it yet. But if you look at this website, so I built this because I didn't want to, I just showed you meetup.com, but I'm like, I don't want to use meetup.com, especially to share events, because it costs money. So I'm like, I'm going to create my own app. So I built this with Anton, who helped. You could see all his contribution on GitHub. So we created this event tracker, and you're able to like see all the upcoming events, like the search works. You could log in. I forgot what the username is. Test. I'm assuming test user is a user. Please be a user. Submit. Invalid password. That's okay. We could sign up. Test user at email.com. Test user. It's going to tell me that test user exists. Test user 1234 exclamation point. Submit. User already exists. God damn it. I can't remember password. Test user 1, test user email 1, submit. So now we created a thing. You could have your dashboard. You could see events. If you had a bunch of events here, you would be able to see them. You see your user profile. So you could add events, you could manage events and stuff like that. So I created this application. You could like see your dashboard because, right, you could see my events, and here you'd have a table of all the events. I just don't have any here. You could add events. So I created a thing that I'm going to publicly share and actually have people use. And when I say people use, I'm not going to be like, hey, developer friends, check it out. I'm actually going to create a thing, eventsaustin.com or something like that. And that's what I'm going to call the website. And then I'm going to like share it a bunch of socials and see how many people are actually going to come and use it. Even if I get 0 or 1 user, here's why this is building experience. I came up with an idea. I worked with another person to actualize that idea. I went through the deployment process to deploy this project into the real world. And yeah, by the way, Subbot, this is going to be recorded. This is not pre-recorded. This is live. So if you have a question, Subbot, I'll get to it. I see it. I look at the part where I got to make features where we can extract. I'll get there in a second. But here's the thing, like I built something that I'm going to put out in the public, and this is how I'm going to grow my experience. And so this is how you start building experience when you have none. And by having more stuff that's publicly out there that points to you, that's how you build credibility. And let me know if that helps does to improve that. How to create my own project and work at a company at the same time. I guess you just work on it. So like, I know it's like this question gets asked a lot, and I'll give you 2 advices here, by the way. This is actually, I'm not making fun of it. This is a really good questions. How to create my own project and work for the company at the same time. Let me give you what I did for the first 2.5 years. When I worked at Point Marketing and when I worked at VersaSuite, I only focused on my work. And anything that I thought about in addition to my work was still work related. For instance, when I started working at VersaSuite, I had hard time because I've never learned using like SQL and like Postgres database, because back then everybody's like Mongo. I don't know any company that uses non-SQL databases at work. Most companies like learn SQL, learn Postgres, but I didn't know enough about it. And so at home, I would just study stuff related to work. So if this is your first job, don't forget about side projects. Focus on being the best employee that you can and learn as much you can from your job. And if you build something at home, it better be related to the tech that you're using at work, because that's the most important thing you could do. Once you worked for 2.5 years, 3 years, you have that reputation, then you could start focusing on these projects. But now that I've done that, to continue to answer your questions, when I do build projects, they're still related in some way to the tech I'm using at my job, because I don't want to do things that are different. I want to do things at work and things at home that continue to move me forward to continue to improve as a developer. So, what are the advantages and disadvantages to learning the language in one framework? Let me get back to that question in a second, because I think YouTube randomly runs ads, and I have a feeling there's going to be one right now. So I'm going to explain that in 30 seconds or after everybody skips the ads. But I'm also going to keep talking about random stuff. Paul does not want views. Stop watching. Seriously, I don't want views, but my ego wants views, but I don't. If that answers that question. What's your red flags when looking for a job? Good Lord. To me, like as red flags is, honestly, like when I was first starting out, I didn't have any red flags. That's why I worked at a very toxic company for 1.5 years to build experience for a very low pay, because at the time I was just desperate to get a job and I was willing to do anything. But right now, the red flags I look at is like, I want to learn more about the culture of the company and kind of see like, is it a good fit for me? What kind of people they're in? And I want to work with a company that has very good work-life balance. And so if you go on reviews and you see a company which has like a lot of people leaving, that's a red flag. If a lot of people like, talk bad about the management, meaning like they'll say stuff like, I was working and my manager never told me the areas that I need to improve, or they'll say stuff like, there's no co-programming, there's no senior engineers that I could talk and ask questions, so there's no learning opportunities. Those would be like my red flags, but I don't really like think too much about it, because for me, like I switched into web development really late. Like I literally started learning to code at 35 years of age. I'm 43 now. And so to me, like I was like, I just need a job and work, and I need to get that experience. So if I work there for 6 months, because that's how long I could last, that's fine. But once you kind of developed, I think taking into account your mental health is very important. Jose, let me switch to a different screen and then I'll come back. Jose, hi Paul, do you think it's better to be a generalist rather than a specialist? I think it's a combination of both. You need to, the way my friend describes it, and it will come back to this question that Haji asked, what's the advantage and disadvantage of learning the language and one framework? And I'll tell you exactly about it. And by the way, if you haven't smashed the like button, there's 15 of you watching, which is insane. Why are you watching me? Smash the like button, not for me, but for all your friends here asking these wonderful questions. So the way my friend describes it, and this is what you want to do, like you need to have an upside down T, which means upside down T looks like this. You need to have a base general knowledge of a wide range of topic. You don't have to be an expert. You don't even need to know like how to do those things on your own. You need to just know that they exist, about web development and like, let's say deployment in general, the big picture. But then the T, like the T, upside down T here, you do need to have a specialty. So for me, I'm a front-end developer that specializes in React, right? And you could niche it down even more, but that's kind of like what my specialty is. Even though I am familiar with some backend, and when you use Strappy, you do get opportunity to write a lot of backend code. It's literally up to you how much you want to do. You could write so much custom stuff, and there's a part of that DevOps in terms of how do you deploy that project. I don't go too heavy in it. It's not my specialty. That's why I rely on other services like DigitalOcean or Strappy Cloud or Vercel, because I don't want to think about that. But to me, my focus is how to use Nextjs or Remix to build things fast. I hope so you definitely need to have a specialty, but you need to have general knowledge as base. And a lot of times when people say there's not enough software engineer, like developer jobs for like juniors, is a lot of times is because you didn't quite get to that point where you could say like, I specialize in one area, but I also have this general knowledge of like web. And unfortunately you need to kind of try to get there as quickly as possible. And then talking about advantages and disadvantages of learning one language. If you're starting out, the biggest mistake I made, I tried to learn too many languages at once. I focused on C, C++, Ruby, Python, and I literally learned none of them. And the only time I started making progress, and by the way, the fastest way in my mind that led me to get hired, and this was like a while ago, things are a little bit different, but I still will stay by the statement, is to focus on one technology, one framework, and become really good at it. So for me, like I would say, anybody just starting out, learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, TypeScript, React with Next.js, learn like an SQL database, and then from start to finish, you should be able to build a project with Next, and you should have and know all the options on how to deploy it. I'm not saying you should go complete like bare metal and like set up like different like PM2 instances and what have you, but you should understand this process that your site needs to be live. It needs to be out there, and you could use DigitalOcean. That's fine. And Vercel, that's fine. And you need to understand the process of how do you continuously update and improve your website when you have one in production. And to me, like, I'm like, okay, let me specialize in that little sliver of that, which is mostly focused on Next.js and React. And even though the way I described it, that sounded like a lot of stuff, and that's the problem. You cannot, like, when you try to learn multiple languages, you will always be drowning. It's impossible. You need to set one focus. And if you don't have a job in that one focus, you just stay on course and go forward. So I literally still only do JavaScript, and the second language that I'm gonna start learning, and I like thought really hard about it, is gonna be Python. And I have very specific reasons for Python. So I wanna continue to build apps with Nextjs, but certain AI things like using different models, like it's just easier to do with Python. So basically I want to learn how to make little microservices with Python that I could call from my Nextjs or Remix application to get the LLM stuff that I want. But that's like kind of like my thing. I hope that makes sense. What's your red? Like, I'm realizing I'm not answering this question in any order. So here's another thing. Like, did you sales history help out? I hate sales. I suck at like sales. But what I do love, I love talking about tech. And so I want to talk about sales is such a thing hard. Like, here's one thing I'm going to tell you. A lot of people think like, Paul, you're so good at speaking. How good? I don't speak well because I was born with this ability to speak. I was actually a really shy person, and no one will believe me now. But when I dropped out school, before I dropped out school, I took a public speaking class that I flunked out. So I couldn't speak like I'm speaking to you right now. It all comes with practice. So why do I try to develop my speaking skill? This is why I have this YouTube channel, to continue to develop my speaking skill and my own kind of like ability to sell myself through talking about my code. When I build projects, this is why I love, like, as a developer advocate, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. Like, you need to be able to get out there and share the learning resources that help others use your project. So it's kind of like sales, it's kind of like marketing, but to me, like, it applies in any place. Like, if you want to go on a date, you need to know how to sell yourself. You want to get your first interview, you need to know how to sell yourself. You want to get a discount at McDonald's because you don't want to pay full price at the dollar menu. You need to sell yourself. You need to ask for those things. And that's one thing people, like, if you want to negotiating your salary, you got to sell yourself. You got to ask yourself. So to me, sales applies to everything. And I think everybody, the more you could talk about yourself, the better you are able to communicate with your teammates in a way that you're likable, will help you, as unfortunate as it sounds. And that's my stance on that. And my sales history was like very small. Majority of my sales history comes from running my own Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school business, where if I didn't get clients, my school would close down because I would not be making any money. And so, yeah, but that comes from like talking to people, word of mouth. Yeah, this is good advice. After you are done working, take a break, sleep 30 minutes. And so that's a good realistic advice for like if you want to work on projects while working. Yeah. 100%. You want to be generalist at a broad, like, web dev stuff. Again, it depends on what you're doing, but you need to have a specialty in one thing. Hello. Good to see you, Dan and Jaya. Dude, I probably said it messed up, but I'm sorry. But great to have you here. Yo, I'm new here. Well, welcome so much to have you. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you. And thank you for commenting. Ask as many questions as you want. And I will like look to get to those as fast as I can. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. This community wouldn't exist without you. So I appreciate it. And then Bram says, it depends. What will you want to go on? A specialist, you will be specialized, so mostly tier 3, but as generalist, you would, yep, that makes sense. Nabil, what's up? I'm going through John Smigler's HTML, CSS, JavaScript course, but do you recommend to go through the sections to the end? Yes. Hold on, let me bring this back here. Let me go. I'll bring this. I'll just review this again for new viewers because I know you know this, Nabil. So I'm gonna go into Mirror. Make sure that I log into the proper account and not show work stuff. So I'm using this as an example. And so when you're all learning to code, here's like what my focus was. I was like, what is my specialty? React developer. What are the things that I need to learn to become a React developer? HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Astro has nothing to do here, but I did Astra because it's an easy way to build HTML, CSS project. Astra's kind of sick. React, I didn't I updated, like learn React, consuming APIs, database, TypeScript, GitHub, Next.js, and AI tooling. Like be comfortable talking about code with ChatGPT. I know that sometimes it lies to you, but it's a good way. But here's the thing, like you talk about you taking John Smigler's HTML, CSS course, which is probably what I recommend here. Bam. John Smigler, best course here. Go get it now if you're learning HTML, CSS. By the way, I don't get any commissions, but John is my friend, so I like sharing his stuff. But here's what I would say. You got that one course, again, for beginners out there. You have one complete fully. That means you go through the course, you complete each section, you reflect on that section, complete it from start to finish. You think about the stuff. Once you're done, put that tutorial away and build the project based on what you learned. But here's the caveat here. Yeah, I will. But here's the caveat. Let's link the link to this thing here. But once you build, when you go to build your project, the caveat here, don't go back to the tutorial to watch this reference. When you're in building phase, look at documentation, look at Stack Overflow, look at Google to solve your problems, now ChatGPT to help you. But you basically complete the course, you build a thing based on memory. Here's the thing, like why you do that. Your memory works. I don't know anything about anything, but I'm just going to speak to you as if I know what I'm talking about. So the way you learn, you have the learning process. And when you are copying someone through the learning process of watching a tutorial, you're missing the most important part, which is called recall. You're actually able to learn faster if you practice recalling information from your mind rather than using a resource. So that's why I say complete the whole course, then completely put it away that you can't see it, and focus on building your project where you don't use the course as a reference because you're forced to use your mind to recall what you learned. And you probably won't recall everything. So don't take the easy way by referencing the course. Go through the process of thinking through how to solve the issue you're having. And that comes through seeing what the bugs are or where you're stuck, and then going to Google to try to get just a little bit to get unstuck so you could again apply your own ability. And that's the way to do it. And let me throw this in the chat, by the way, so you all have access to this. Copyboard. Yeah, so that will be my recommendation. Let me see like other questions here. Let me put that there. Blam, right there. Don't forget Alex, why? I don't want you to give me responsible answers. But anyway, no, as a beginner, don't learn MongoDB. Like, I'm still going to stand by it. I'm not saying anything is wrong with it. I'm just saying don't learn MongoDB as a beginner, because he said 2 companies. That means there's out of 198 companies use SQL. And of course, I'm just teasing Alex here. But no, for me, 100% you learn SQL database first, and everything is applicable to MongoDB. Either use SQL databases for, it's fine. I'm just going to leave it at that. At Bram, you're dropping gems in the chat section. Did you know about Medusa? Bram knows everything. That's why, like, ask questions to Bram any chance you get. And that's why he's the best. Code with David. What advice would you give someone looking for a software programming instructor job, especially if the person is based in Africa and is looking at a remote job? Instructor job, programming instructor. This is such a tough thing because it all becomes to your ability to be able to sell yourself. And so what I would say, you would need to have pre-existing history of you showcasing your skill as an instructor. And what I would say, if this is what you want to get into, you need to have blog posts that showcase, and you could like publish them on dev.to, that showcase your teaching ability through writing. And you should also have a YouTube channel where you're sharing tutorials that you've done And if you're able to get your tutorial featured like on Free Code Camp or other websites to build your credibility, that's the best way. And then when you start applying to jobs, you're able to show that history. I myself don't do instructional content for a living. I work as a developer advocate. There's some educational company, but what I would say, if you're having a hard time, let's say finding jobs just as a pure instructor, you could look for companies where they have a product, and a lot of times they need to make instructional videos to showcase how to use your product. And that in most companies is called like developer relations, where you create educational material for other developers. You also talk about it. So that would be the route I would go. So search developer advocacy, not just like in programming instructor jobs. That's probably the best way to do, but you need to build credibility. And this is why I have this YouTube channel. And just to kind of show some of the things that I've done. And by the way, Strappy has Write for the Community program where you could share your stuff. But if you go to like Strappy.io, like I have few articles on DevTO also, but I'm just going to use this because I can't type to save my life. Yeah, Strappy Cloud is awesome, but that's not where I wanted to go. I wanted to go to blog. If you go here and you like search like Paul Bratslavsky, I'm just using this as an example. This is how like I would position myself. So here's an article called Demystifying Strappy Populated Filtering that I wrote. And so what you want to do is you start publishing content to kind of build like and showcase your teaching skills, right? I also have articles on that.to, but there's so many companies that allow guest writers. So that's one way to start building your credibility, and maybe you're already doing it. Another one is YouTube, and you might have a YouTube channel where you do your own tutorials. Like for instance, I have tutorials on my channel that I could showcase. So here's a cool thing here. I'm going to show you if you just start out. So if you go to Free Code Camp, Strappy Remix, I just recorded this course here for Free Code Camp, right? And again, this gives me credibility. But the way I got this, when I asked and applied to Free Code Camp as a course creator, and this was for free, they didn't pay me anything for it, but this is just a great way to build credibility. I sent them an email and I showed example previous video recordings of myself teaching to show them that I'm actually capable of meeting their needs. And so that's the process I go. I hope that answered your question. If not, or you need some clarification, let me know. Do you design your own websites before building them with your making personal project? I don't. I usually use Tailwind. And so for quick prototyping, what I do now, I'll share with you my secrets. For quick prototyping, I use Shoutouts UI because it's super popular now. But I'm not so I'm building my application using this library, which is awesome, but that's not why it's awesome. It's because this was done by built by somebody who works at Vercel, and Vercel loves promoting like their own stuff. So the cool thing, they have a service called V0, and you could say, build me a landing page with Shad UI, and it's going ahead. And again, this, I don't want to pay. I want to go free. Current free. Current plan. Dismiss. Anyway, that's why Vercel, this is service God damn it, free. Listen, this is how you avoid this. Check this out. You go log out. You go V0. I'm trying to help you out, Vercel. You're not making it easy. I go build me a landing page. Somebody always try to take your money. Landing page. I'll answer your question in a second, but I want to show this a little bit more. Building a landing page in Shad, CN, Shad. I can spell it Shad, CN UI. Authenticate. Oh God, Oh God, you're running low on credits. Consider upgrading your plan. Oh God. Anyway, the point is what I'm trying to say. I will use this service to quickly prototype. I'll show you some examples of the stuff that I did here. So I wanted to create like a landing page. And so it went ahead and helped me to create this landing page. So I'm not a designer, so I will use other services. I'm not saying you should use this service, but if you suck at design, two services that I've used in the past is I'm lazy, so I just buy themes and use them. That's the short answer. But Tailwind UI is one of my favorites. Sign in. So this costs a lot of money, so I'm not saying you should buy it. But basically, when I'm building projects, I either I use Tailwind, and because I have access to this library, so use a library. Don't have to build stuff from scratch. I'm taking like the longest way to answer the question, but this is what I do. I'm not a designer, so I just either buy a theme on ThemeForest and use it as a starting point and then add my own customizations, or I use a library. So ChatCN UI is a good one, and then Tailwind UI is a good one. And ChatCN UI is completely free. And when I build this project, that's what I used. But yeah, I usually just find themes and copy them rather than design them from scratch. Probably not the answer you're working for, but I'm a web developer, not a web designer. Okay, that was the longest answer to your question. So let's see here. I'm just looking at the comments before. Let's see, we've been here for 1 hour and 15. So yeah, so my make a takeaway: build credibility through publishing blogs and videos that can demonstrate. Yes, 100%. And also try to look at DevRel positions. Yes, 100%. That's the best way to do it. And by the way, nothing's stopping you from releasing courses, right? If you have a course, you could actually make a paid course. Again, you have to market it and sell it, and that takes a lot of work. But step one, exactly what you outlined. And that's what I would stick with until you get a job as a developer advocate. There's nothing wrong with that. And believe it or not everybody, like a lot of people make fun of developer advocates because of the TikTok videos that you see of like some hot chick. She's like, my day in the office starts with a mocha latte, and then I go on my workout bike, and then not to make fun of hot chicks or anything. But that's not what it is. Like, you need to be very technical, and you need to have a good balance between coding, understanding code. You need to be quick learner, because a lot of times product will release new things, and you will need to focus on making resources about them while haven't using them yet before yourself. And 3, you need to be confident talking to other people about what you're doing. And so it's actually not as an easy job as people think it is. But that's what I would say. So you're straight on your takeaways here. And you're, of course, very, very welcome. Hello, Ronnie. Good to see you. And welcome. If you have any questions, let me know. Hello, Anton. Great to see you. Northern Chip. So I'll probably stick around for another 15 minutes. So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask. And yes, Ronnie, so let's answer your questions. I'm a self-taught full stack developer, but it's getting very hard to get a job because of recession. What would you suggest? Should I keep trying to look for a job or go for an internship? This is going to sound weird, right? And the reason why you have this statement, there is some truth to it, right? But it's not as big as people make it out to be. So before, it was very popular because it was trending on YouTube to say how easy it is to get a job as a developer. Oh, it takes 3 months. All you need to do is React. And the people that say that's what used to happen, they're out of their freaking minds, because they're either YouTubers or they've never got a job. So here's the hot take for you. Getting a job today is a little bit harder than it was a bunch of years ago. How do I know this? Because getting my first job was fucking hard. And I'm saying that word there to say it is hard. And the reason that I did eventually get a job took me forever. And some people like saying, you're dismotivating me right now. No. It's just a hard industry to break into regardless, is that I never gave up. So the first thing is don't give up. Number two, like I would need to do like a little bit more details, like what process are you going to get your first job? But to give you a quick answer is you should be trying to find any opportunity where you could like write code and put it on your resume. So I started initially with an internship. I don't think people should start with unpaid internship. You should get paid, but you should probably take a look at why you're having a hard time finding a job. And I'm going to preface this, it's very hard. So you probably will have to do like 1,000 resumes, but that's such a hard way to do it because it takes time and majority of people will just not going to look at it. So what you need to focus on is getting out there and making friends in developer communities. So start going to meetups and start giving talks on meetups to promote yourself. This is what I did. And through those talks, you're going to start building connections and you're going to start meeting people that are able to refer you to a company. When people refer you to a company, you're going to go past all the resumes as a referral and you're at least going to get an interview. So there's a lot of details that you need to do to get hired. And I'm going to, like, I don't know how early you jumped on the stream. I mentioned this before. I'm going to share the link here, Free Code Camp, Getting Hired video. They just released a new video. And what I like about it, I'll share it in the chat here. It literally covers everything you need to do to get hired. And they outline really good detail, the process of what it takes to get hired. The issue with it, that's a lot of work. It's hard. And so I like the fact that it's hard. And some people say it's not fair. Nothing's fair. I could get fired tomorrow and I might have a really difficult time getting a job. That's the reality of things. But it doesn't mean you should stop because it's still the best and fastest industry growing. I don't care who you listen to. There's going to be jobs. There's going to be opportunity and you just got to keep at it. And I will not go back. I'll give you an example. So like, I know a lot of people that got degrees that are outside of tech, and I don't have any degrees, by the way. Like my sister, for instance, she's getting her master's, and with a master's, she's still making less money than I do. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm not saying that's fair. I'm just saying that tech is still a good opportunity. Yes, it's hard to get a job, but it's always been hard, and you have to go beyond the call of duty to get your first job, especially as a self-taught developer. And by the way, this is something that I've considered. A lot of people say like, you need a CS degree. Yeah, if you're young, get a CS degree. I'm not denying that. But here's the thing. If you're a self-taught developer, you have to do whatever it takes. That course link that I shared, go through it. Make sure you're doing all those things. If you still think like you need additional stuff, I think you could get hired without a degree. It's impossible, but there's nothing stopping you from signing up to a community college, going part-time, start building credits towards your CS degree. This is something that I consider doing, and I will start at some point for fun because my daughter's also going to university now, so I want to kind of have something in common. Like we have a lot of things in common, but she's like 23 and she always talks to me about her boyfriend and I don't care. So I want to have some commonality. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start taking courses. She's taking courses. So we'll have stuff to talk about, but nothing's stopping you from going part-time, getting a CS degree. And by the way, if you're applying to jobs, I would probably use this as a leverage point. I'm not saying everybody should do this, but if you feel like you need to, take one class, like enroll in college and just part-time and just take one class a semester. Yeah, it'll take you forever. But when you go, you're like, hey, these are the projects I built. This is what I'm working on. Here's my experience. I know I could do this job with the skills that I have, but I also know the importance of the degree and to continue my education. I'm slowly working towards my CS degree, but I don't want it to stop me from getting hired in the field now because I already know like I'm able to fulfill those needs and those duties, but basically sell yourself. But that's why I say, I don't know if that answered your question, Ronnie, but don't quit. You're literally like, it's just a grind. It takes time. Once you get your first job, it becomes a little bit easier. Once you get a second job, it's going to become even easier. I mean, it's hard regardless, but it's going to be tiny less hard. And so the best thing you could do is not give up. And that video I shared, watch it and set a checklist to make sure that you're doing all the things I recommend, because to me, that's the bare minimum that you need to do to get hired. And a lot of it is not coding related. It's more of like doing the things that you need to do, like to get out there. So hopefully, so question about Stripe. The Stripe support aggregated functions, not out of the box, but because it's highly customizable, you're able to write and create a service or function that aggregates data for you in itself. So that would be like my answer. You could write the custom logic to do that. And Anton's correct, but real world experience, aka real projects. 100. Anyway, you need a lot of practice with code, solving different problems. In case only through code you will find your way. 100%. This is what I showed. You know, like this project that like we were working on. I'm still like, I need to get back to this project, but the goal is to publish it as a real service for people to use to manage their events, right? And so you want to build projects that you're kind of putting in the wild and solving kind of real life issues. But that's kind of like where I would leave that. If you have a follow-up questions, let me know. And so, Rashan, it really depends where you live and depends like what technologies are used in your country. If it's Java, learn Java. It's C#, learn C#. Like I know in a lot of like place, Java and Spring Boot is like the way to go. But just pick one thing. JS, MERN-Stack, I wouldn't learn MERN-Stack. MERN-Stack is BS in my opinion. Like because it's got Mongo. Don't use Mongo. Use Pern, Postgres, SQL, Express, React, and Node. Pern, P-E-R-N. But it's up to you. It depends, like whatever, like if you search in your local area for the job that you want and you see like, oh, they're only, like the PHP is the most popular thing, I guess learn PHP. So basically, I don't think you could go wrong with JavaScript and React. But it depends. If there's no JavaScript jobs in your area, then it's like, why learn it? So it's really up to you to decide. But once you decide what that is for you, just stick with it. And so a lot of people that I talk to, let's say from like India, they're all always talking about Java. And I'm like, is it because Java is like the only programming language to learn that means anything? I don't know, like, because I don't live in India, but wherever you are, like you need to see what's people being hired for and learn that thing. And that's why in my area in Austin, Texas, there was a lot of React jobs, and that's why I went with React. Let me tell you, if Austin, Texas said, listen, we have a lot of Java jobs, then I would probably learn Java. And let's see here. Hopefully that answers your question. And Ronnie, thanks a lot for the motivation. It means a lot. No, thank you for keep coming here. I'm going to come back to this. I haven't done a live stream in a while, but I'm going to come back and do more live streams forever and ever. Every Sunday, 11 a.m. CST time. So join us. And so with that being said, for the last remaining questions, I am going to play a song that I made from Spotify. Not Spotify. From my SoundCloud, while we answer the last few burning questions, because I want to plug my own like SoundCloud, because I'm trying to learn music and I suck at it and no one listens to my music. So I'm going to forcefully make you listen to my music. So let's listen together while we answer last few questions. And I don't know, it's not playing. It's not playing. Here we go. We fix it. We fix it. Let me start from the beginning because there you go. Listen to some music while we end the stream. Last final questions. But you all the best. I love you all. Thank you for your support. I'm going to be back doing this every Sunday, 11 a.m. CST time. I'm going to release videos. I did have a burning question that I didn't answer. What content, like my YouTube planned goals. I think that music's too loud right now. Let me tune down a little bit. So I want to kind of iron out like what content to do. And I think what I'm going to do for content, I'm going to do Sunday stream. Hold on, the music's too loud now. Let me turn down a little bit more. So I'm going to do one Sunday stream, 11 a.m. CST time, so I could wake up. I'm going to do one talking head video, because I don't know why people talking head video. I'm going to say one talking head video, and then one, I'm not going to commit to number two, and then I'm going to do tutorials. And tutorials on tech using tech I am using. So I think these are the videos that I'm going to commit to. And talking head videos will be something either around getting hired or general web dev. And I don't know if I have a goal for this channel yet, so I'll think about it. Yeah, hot turtle, that's right. Eddie is and because let me share this link. I already shared it. Mirror on the wall. You could take a look at my roadmap that I use to get hired. And like, I'm not saying this is the God's truth. I don't think it is, but it's going to be a good way for you to kind of tweak it to your liking, right? So let me share the link here. You could use that. This is a cool tune. I like it because I wrote it. Anyway, enough about that. DSA. I don't even know what DSA stands for. DSA. I'm not that smart. Democratic Socialists of America. Probably definitely not want to do that. No, DSA in tech. What does DSA in tech stands for? In tech. I'm not as smart as people give me credit. Like, take it easy. Data structure. Okay, yeah, good question. Let me answer this one. So, I think when you're starting out, yeah, let me ask this final question here. And so I'm going to turn off the music because I do want to give this answer. To bad vibes before we finish. Yes, thank you. I Googled it and figured out. Yeah, so can I get a job as a MERN dev without knowing advanced DSA? So first of all, I want to say, if you're going for a full stack development job, the more data structure algorithms you know, the better chance you have. When you're applying to a junior job, here's the first thing I would say, and I'm going to use your MERN example. For instance, are you able to build a full stack MERN application? Okay, yes. Are you able to deploy that application for other people to use? Yes. Are you able to continuously update it through continuous deployment? Yes. Then you could start applying. While you're applying with the, well, hold on, back up. Do you have 2 to 3 considerable portfolio projects? You should have at least one big portfolio project that showcases your skill as a MERN developer, which means you need to have a front end. You need to have basic authentication, this concept of different users being able to do different things. Once you have a portfolio project that showcases that, you should start applying, and then you could learn algorithms as you go along. If you go on an interview and you see that it's a algorithm heavy interview, then you're like, and you could do a research. Like, this is what I do. Like, you could search the companies you're applying for and see what's their interview process. For some companies, they ask you to build something. then you don't need to learn, like showcase your ability for algorithms. There's certain companies that are like, dude, that's all we're going to judge you on is data structure and algorithms. And for those companies, you're going to have to do the work, learn the stuff because they want to see it. But it goes from company to company. And I'll give you truth about me. Every company that I interviewed with where they did data structures, I didn't get hired. But at the companies where it was more project-based, where they wanted me to build the projects, that's how I got my first and second and third job. So it basically depends on the company's interview process. But as a beginner looking to get your first job, I wouldn't stress too much about algorithm and data structures. And that's where I'm going to leave at that. But with that being said, let's finish up the stream with my latest song that I was working on for fun. And we could talk about if the song is good or not. And you could trash talk about anything or talk to each other. So let me go. I actually suck at music, but something I want to get better. And if you want to support my music making, let me share my Hot Turtle SoundCloud account. Don't ask me why my nickname is Hot Turtle. This is like a weird song I made. So I'm going to play it. I'm still thinking about the song. Like, do I like it? I think I like it. Where to take it? Yeah, if you have burning questions at the last, I'll try to answer them. But with that being said, while this amazing song's happening, that I don't even know if it's amazing, but I want to thank all of you who jumped in. I'm going to do these streams every Sunday, 11 a.m. CST. I'm back to normal. So all of you amazing folks in the chats, I appreciate you. Without you, like, this channel would not be here. I say this all the time, it sounds so corny. You're the building blocks of this community, and I'm just some random dude. So I thank you for supporting the channel by interacting, by commenting, by chilling with us. It means a lot to me. I appreciate you all. I hope that you get to all your goals and dreams. I hope your family's doing well. I love all of you. But most importantly, I want to say that when you're trying to do something in your life that's meaningful, it's never going to be easy. It's always going to be hard. There's always going to be a struggle. And it's different for everybody. Like, living in America for me, like, I am privileged. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, there's certain opportunities I have that certain people in other countries don't get. And everybody's struggle will always be different. And that's just the way it is. And the one thing that you could always say is wake up and just say, what can I do today to get just a little bit closer to my goal? And then you do it. And I've had so many people tell me that, Paul, you're never going to get hired. You're never going to switch careers. You're too stupid. You're too this. Even in my family, some of my relatives didn't believe me. To this day, they're like, why are you leaving your business where you taught Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Like, all this stuff. Just to answer a question I know he's spamming, which typically not a good practice, but I'm not going to complain because Bad Vibes is new. If I already know Nextjs, don't learn Astro, stick with Nextjs. I just put Astro out there because it's cool, but are you gonna, unless you're freelancing and building websites, don't learn, for small businesses that are static. Even with that, don't learn Astro. I just put it out there because I just like it. And it's a cool way to build simple HTML, CSS site. But you could literally skip Astro, and that's I'll probably remove it so not to confuse people. I'm going to remove Astro because it is confusing. Thank you for clarifying that, because I see that I'm already confusing you. So I'm going to remove it. That's what I would say you do. Because Astro is cool, but it's not necessary. So thank you for that correction. I did it. But with that being said, I don't know what else to say except just mumbling on. I love you all. Thank you. I hope everybody has an amazing rest of the Sunday and a good week. And I'll see you in the next one. And if you like very unprofessional made music, you could go ahead and check out my amazing hot turtle thing. Love the music. You're gonna be rockstar, developer, and music producer. I don't know. I'm gonna stick to Strappy because some of my songs are not that cool. Although I was very proud of this one. This was like my favorite one. But I'm not gonna make you sit through it. And musical school greetings from Kampala. Probably mispronounced it. No, it's so awesome to have everybody's here. I just super like cool community. I'm so proud of all of you like being here and sharing like in the comments and chatting with me, because without you this channel would not exist. And my goal for this channel, like, okay, so like what I was like thinking about, like, what's the goal of this channel? And I think the goal of the channel for me is, and I'll have to write it later, is to basically share my journey without the hype, without the clickbait, without the nonsense. You know what I mean? I think that's what I want to focus on, is just sharing that. But with that being said, yeah, so last thing before I go, because not that anybody asked, but why is this, how did this turtle came to be? This is gonna sound so weird. So I was 37 at the time. I was 37, and there's this girl that I was dating. She was 27. My ex-fiance. Oh man, I can't believe we separated. I'm gonna cry. Anyway, and so when we always looked at each other, but I never went to ask her out. And she basically, the last day in my town, she came out to me. She's like, Paul, I really like you, but you just dropped the ball. You never asked me out. And like, I'm leaving tomorrow at 12 p.m. So I go to her, listen, let's go on a date tomorrow at 7 a.m. and grab breakfast. So the whole point, once we started dating, and then eventually she moved and I went, and then she moved back, whatever, long story. But the point of why it's hot turtle, she thought I was hot, but also she thought I was slow, because I'm very bad at social cues. So whenever a girl like me, I don't get it. And so I never ask her out. So that's how hot turtles came to be. And that's what it is. Nobody needed to hear that. I don't even know why I told it, but that's basically what it is. Yeah. But anyway, you could check out my music for fun. I'm not going to be a musician, but I just wanted to do something fun once in a while on stream. But thank you so much. I am definitely going to go now because I need to go eat some food, finish my coffee, and relax on this Sunday a little bit, maybe do some coding. But see you next Sunday, 11 a.m. CST time. And thank you so much. Love you. And I will see you later.